It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob, barely gotten into Toronto, and with me, of course, is Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. How are you, Shawn?
Doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
That's awesome. And, of course, I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, I just rolled into town not about an hour ago from, Fan Cup over in Philly/New Jersey. And what a great weekend. What a great weekend. Great to see. A lot of people only get to see once a year. A lot of great lacrosse. It was a lot of fun. We won.
Awesome.
We won.
Congratulations.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we were 5-0-1. We actually tied with the Lacrosse Statutes. We decided to call it before the championship game happened because it just happened to be a fluke on the schedule that the sixth game for both of us were against each other. And we were both 5-0. And we thought, well, in the spirit of fan, win or lose, we drink the booze. And that was just keeping us away from the bar and the pool.
Yeah.
So we decided to call that a tie. We'll get a little bit more into that and some of the fun over the weekend. But let me do a couple of things for the network first. And remember that all the programs are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can catch all the action on eopsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please take a look at all the shows we got going. We got stuff every day of the week and twice on Sundays, which includes us. If you missed a show, no worries. Grab all the podcasts on all major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Spotify, plus so much more. And if you're looking for it on YouTube, you can go to the EOP Sports page at EOP Sports. Or if you're looking for our stuff in particular, go to All Lacrosse All the Time, in which you can also catch retro games, interviews, our library of shows, and a whole lot more. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting eopsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. While you're there, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Yeah, it was a weekend, guys, and it was funny in the program. One of the sponsors was of course Lacrosse and Barriers. Very nice.
Nice.
But the three major sponsors was the Philadelphia Wings charities, also Sticks for Students, and Leveling the Playing Field. So three really good charities that all the money raised is going to. A short little poem about fan. In the grand old hall where lacrosse is king, tournaments held where they do a strange thing. The Fan Cup, they call it, a curious name, where winning or losing is not the main aim. Win or lose, we drink the booze, they cheer. A motto that's followed by all far and near. With sticks in their hands and cups far behind, cups not far behind, they play for a cause with a slightly blurred mind. For every goal scored, a chuckle is heard, for the aim of the game is quite absurd. It's not just the score that they all cherish, but the laughter and funds they hope will flourish. So here's to the players in jerseys so bright, who may not play well, but they party all night. The Fan Cup, the reason for this funny sight, where the best part of losing is the party's delight. Let the ball zip, let the sticks clash, and if you trip, just have a laugh. For in this game, where fun's the cash, the biggest fun is the charity stash. So tip your hat and don't be a snooze. For Fan Cup spirit, you just can't lose. It's a jolly good time with a hint of booze, where the real prize is the joy we infuse. Fan Cup 2024, Philadelphia. Next year, it is Fan Cup 2025 in Buffalo. A little shorter drive for me. God. With the lovely traffic in Philadelphia as well as here in Toronto and cottage country and all the other things that came in, it was a lovely 9 hours either direction. So sure had fun.
Oh.
People in Saskatchewan are going, we do that weekly for Ryan games, man.
Yeah. It's a Sunday
Luckily,
drive.
I was far enough away from Hamilton where I didn't have to experience the Argos losing to the now 1-5.
Oh.
Yeah, every time they're 0-1,
how's Saskatchewan doing, though, Gary? We won't go there, right?
They beat us. Yeah. So we're 3-3. We're happy to be there, I think, because we're lucky to be there. Anyway.
Saskatchewan 5-1.
Yeah. One of them was us. Quarterback, found by the Argos. We do a good job of putting really star quarterbacks everywhere else but here. We do. Eduardo is with us. He is in St. Augustine. He is still resting. Well, you feel better, Eduardo?
Yeah,
I'm envious of the resting part because I could use a little bit of that. Absolutely. But yeah, the Fan Cup was a great success and a lot of great things going on. Man, it was fun. There were some terrific games in there. And so proud of my son also. He was MVP last year, and I thought he played 10 times better this year. I thought he really came into his own in this tournament. So look out. Masters people, look out. Anyways, just a couple other little things to remind you about. The Gales Picnic is coming up. I believe that's next Saturday, the 27th, over at Tyrone Community Center, located at 2716 Concession Road 7, Tyrone. Face painting, good old Jumping Castles Mike, treats, and so much more. Lots of alumni, lots of other things there. Gale Spirit, lots of things to do. You want to check that out. Also, this is just tomorrow is the Gales Golf Tournament. The Brooklyn Golf Tournament. So close. For the Brooklyn Merchants and the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. If you want to do the last minute, maybe give Gavin at sbis.ca an email. If you don't want to play, you might want to go there anyway. Silent auction, all kinds of things going on. It is at Wolf Run Golf Club. So check-in is at 10, shotgun start 11, scramble format. But if you want to just go in there for a who's who, you got all kinds of people and things to do while you're there if you are free on a Monday. Lacrossing Barriers, just a reminder that their August camps are coming up, August 6th to 9th and August 26th to 30th. Give Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org an email, and if you have any questions or would like to register. Remember, it's all abilities and all possibilities day camps designed to allow anyone who chooses to learn, laugh, and play. The camps will guide everyone who comes to participate in the way they need. An excellent idea, excellent camp. And I had Ernie Element with Peterborough and their Special Olympics on the other show on Thursday, and it was fantastic to talk to him. You can catch that on my YouTube page at Groob, and you can catch the highlights of that show, or you can catch it on Spanglish Sports World, Gary Groob, and see the show there, as well as on our Facebook pages and all that. Fantastic stuff. He's a tremendous guy, Man Cup champion from 1984, and all the things that go along with it, and part of the Peterborough universe. Also related to John Davis. It's in the blood, guys.
Yeah.
Greatness is in the blood. Such a fantastic family. Alrighty. A few signings to get on with. Rylan Reese has inked a 2-year deal with the Nighthawks. San Diego still making news, as they do every week now, it seems. Westberg re-signed for a 3-year deal. Vancouver, looking to the future, and has re-signed Connor O'Toole, who, by the way, is having a great summer. As well, they have signed Alex Sadakis. So, you see the direction they're going in, eh, Mike?
Yeah, that should be interesting. Stathakis just got signed by the Waterdogs a couple of weeks ago to be their face-off guy. So maybe Vancouver's gonna give him a look and and see if he can be their face-off guy for next season. So
right. And Will Manny signed with the Boston Cannons. The strong get stronger.
Yeah.
As we'll find out a little bit later. Oh my! I go away for a weekend, and Atlas went away too. At least I still have my Shamrocks. Well, Before we get rolling on anything else, I just want to remind everybody that this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Tickets.
Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard to come by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Absolutely, they do. Sherry's Tickets. Lots of things going on. Alrighty. Why don't we start out west, Shawn, with a little bit of Junior A stuff,
Okay.
and also a little bit of backstory to some nonsense in June.
Yeah, we'll maybe start with the incident back in June. I'll read a little bit of the statement here. I won't go too long in it, but the BC Junior A Lacrosse League is aware of a disrespectful incident which occurred in the June 28th game between the Delta Islanders and Port Coquitlam Saints. In the first period, a Delta player grabbed a Port Coquitlam player's hair braid and pulled him to the ground. The player whose hair was pulled, Karen Lazor, is Akwesasne and is a Mohawk from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. After the incident, the Delta player was released by the team. The league issued supplementary discipline that will apply to this player in all leagues in BC, including a suspension, a hearing, and a requirement to take part in additional education. The player has expressed remorse for his actions, especially as we work together to recognize the history of racist acts and work to move forward with acts of reconciliation and sharing truths. This type of act cannot be tolerated. The BCJALL is working to offer cultural safety and humility training to ensure that there's greater awareness of the impacts of incidents like this and to create conversations towards improving cultural safety and awareness within the sport of lacrosse. It goes on then to say that all parties involved hope that there can be learning and growth from this incident. So obviously an unfortunate incident there. But, you have to give kudos both to the team as well as the league for, acting swiftly.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into some of the nitty gritty.
But now actually moving on to the playoffs. We're into the semifinals. I guess we'll start. Coquitlam is taking on Burnaby. Coquitlam's coming in as the number 1 seed. So on, I guess it was Wednesday, Coquitlam picked up a 12-6 win. And then just yesterday, another 12-6 win for Coquitlam. So they're up 2-0 now in that best of 7. And actually, they're in progress right now. So we'll see if I can get an updated score. They are in the second period right now, and it is actually 6-5 for Burnaby. So Burnaby's trying to hopefully stay alive in that one. And in the other series, looks like we just had a wrap up on tonight's game. Game 1 again Wednesday night is Port Coquitlam against Nanaimo. Port Coquitlam took a 7-5 win over Nanaimo, and game 2, Port Coquitlam took a 2-0 series lead with an 11-8 win. Then actually just tonight, this just wrapped up actually. Port Coquitlam 13, Nanaimo 10. So they have a 3-0 lead, and we'll look to close out that series. I'm just going to see when that next game is. Looks like I believe Tuesday night.
All right. Then
over to Alberta, and we actually have the final set in that one. I guess when we left off, the Edmonton Raiders, the Okotoks Raiders were ahead of the Calgary Mounties, 2-0. And on Sunday evening, the Raiders took a 13-5 win. And then on Monday, in Game 4, the Raiders won 12-5, so they are into the finals. As for the other semifinal, the Edmonton Miners against the Saskatchewan SWAT. And again, Miners were up 2-0 heading into this week. It actually looked like the SWAT were about to maybe force a Game 5 on Saturday last night, but the Miners came away with an 8-6 win. And then Edmonton cruised to a 10-3 win just this afternoon to take that series. So, and the Alberta Junior A's, our finals are going to be the Edmonton Miners against the Okotoks Raiders. So, should be a really, really good series.
That'll be a great series. And either way, Minto bound for somebody. It's going to be wild. Both teams are veterans in this. Just before we get into the junior here in Ontario, one piece of news that I forgot to mention, the Ottawa Black Bears, they will be with their jersey unveil Thursday, July 25th. If you're anywhere in the Ottawa area, please get down to the Canadian Tire Center and have a look at their site for when this is. I believe it's in the morning, but it's this should be pretty cool. Should be a pretty cool unveiling of a really, really cool jersey, I think. Notice, guys, over my shoulder, I have the old Riptide jersey, which is now known as the old Riptide jersey. That was from the unboxed Montreal game. One of my little things I was able to score at the auction. So worthwhile.
Awesome.
Worthwhile, I'd say. I also got a whole heap of Philadelphia Phillies bobbleheads of Hall of Famers and other guys and things like that, which was unique considering I collect bobbleheads. But the one I wanted and the one that caught my attention, of course, was the Philly Fanatic bobblehead. So I have him in the collection.
Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, that works out very, very well. Also, it looks like I'll be San Diego bound again. That little package that I won last year, I won this year. So
Sweet.
Barring me allowing other people to do this, I'll be finding myself in a warm climate in the dead of winter. So stay tuned. More information coming soon. But I'd already planned one of my things was Georgia. So if I can get 2 warm destinations out of this. Hey, don't worry, Eduardo. Yeah, trade with you in February. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
February would be a good time to get out of this thing. Junior wise, we have finished off the first round with a few surprises, a few non-surprises, but a few surprises. First of which, the Burlington Blaze are gone. The Six Nation Arrows are gone. In fact, it took Peterborough coming from behind to knock them out. The Toronto Beaches, we remember all that fun. Well, they were eliminated 3-0 by Orangeville. Just a little salt in the already deep wound. And, Mimico and Brampton, that was supposed to be the highlight series of the playoffs. And yes, the hatred is still there, but the feist isn't because Mimico eliminated them 3-0. So upcoming this particular week, we start, as we speak. And St. Catharines and Orangeville are in Game 1. And tomorrow, Mimico and Peterborough play in this second game. Orangeville is taking St. Catharines to the cleaners at the moment. It's 16-4. Yeah. That about speaks for itself. Funny enough, when I'm looking at all this, St. Catharines was in this until, I guess, almost the end of the first. And then kaboom, the Orangeville's freight train. By the way, they have a chip on their shoulder from losing to Burlington after a perfect season last year. And if we remember, Burlington went on to win the Man Cup or the Minto Cup. So, yeah, there's a little bit of froth in the Orangeville Johns right now. So they're taking it out on everyone. Everyone. Interestingly enough, is these two could meet in the Minto Cup again, since St. Catharines is hosting. The Mimico Peterborough series, though, I think is going to be very interesting. because I think, one, I don't think anybody thought that they would get by Six Nations, including Six Nations, but they just find ways to win and resilient. So, you put that against a Mimico team that is prone to take penalties, anything can happen. So it's going to be interesting. So the juniors are just heating up around here as we speak. So here we go. Semifinal time. Alrighty, let's move on over onto Ontario Series. And, we've had some interesting stuff here. Their playoffs started this past weekend. And Brooklyn beat Hamilton barely, 9-7 on Friday. Whereas Six Nations thumped Owen Sound 15-3. They never really let Owen Sound into the game. It was 5-0 after one. I think before Owen Sound even got on the board, they got on the board quickly into the second, but that was it. And they weren't allowed again. They had about 10 minutes of good time in there. And then Six Nations just dominated again with a 8-goal run. That pretty much shuts it down, don't you think?
Oh,
Yeah.
But we move into today where we had game 2. And, Six Nations gets by Owen Sound 8-7. Yeah. In fact, Owen Sound was up 6-4 after 2. And it was a big bird that got, 6-4. It was 7-4 into the third. And then Six Nations came back with 4 goals. The winning goal, are you sitting, boys? Are you sitting? The winning goal was scored with 1 second left.
Oh boy.
man.
Yeah. Power play goal by Zach Harwars with 2:09 tied it. And Caden Brennan with 1 second left wins this for Six Nations. Ouch. Brooklyn and Hamilton. This game was another one of those. 11-10 for Brooklyn. And once again, it is Brooklyn coming from behind. Hamilton is up 10-9 with 4.5 minutes to go. John Weller scores, ties it. Zach Kerrigan with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left wins this game. And Brooklyn is up 2-0 in this here best of 5 series. Wow. Interesting, huh? Alrighty. And that is as it stands right now. Upcoming, we have, next Friday, we have Hamilton facing Brooklyn at 5 o'clock in Luther Vipon Arena in Brooklyn. At 8 o'clock, after that game's over, you can drive very fast west for a couple of hours and try and catch a game at the ILA for Owen Sound and Six Nations. Now, if either of those teams are still alive, we have Saturday, in which Six Nations and Owen Sound are slated for 7 p.m. at the ILA. And on Sunday, again, if necessary, you have at the, over in Owen Sound, you have Six Nations and Owen Sound. And you have Brooklyn and Hamilton. So, going to be an interesting week, I think. But
Definitely.
both series are 2-0. I'm not hopeful for a game 4, honestly, from what I've seen. But anything's possible. Both teams that are underdogs are playing well and playing tough. So, playoff time, right, guys? Anything is possible. But wow, it's going to be something. Alrighty, just before we move on, just a reminder: this part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
Absolutely. All right, let's make our way over west, and of course to the WLA, who is heating up beyond, white hot out there, white hot. Let's have a look at some of our games. Hey guys, where would we like to pick up?
Yeah, I guess
Tuesday, I think, would be the
Tuesday. Yeah, I believe it's Tuesday. I'm trying to look at my calendar here. Yes, Tuesday.
Yeah, the Salmon Bellies. We can't talk about what's wrong with New West just yet.
No, not quite yet. Actually,
eat on the Adnax.
Actually, a little bit of a big win for them. The fact that I believe that gives them the series now with the Adnax, and as I think we talked about last week, New West is not holding a ton of tiebreakers against a lot of these teams that are right in the mix. But yeah, they picked up a 13-7 win. Really, the big turning point in this game was Salmon Bellies were up 6-5, and they went on a 6-goal run between kind of the end of the second and into the third period. So basically, now you're looking at a 1-goal lead to a 7-goal lead, and it's just too much of a hole for Coquitlam to make up. As we talked before, Will Malcolm really was kind of the cog in the lineup. Hat trick and 4 assists for 7 points. Tyson Gibson had 4 goals and 2 assists. Again, Mike Messenger on the faceoff dot. 19 of 23 on the faceoff dot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been a big addition lately for them.
Yeah, he's been huge for them. And another thing, too, is they did get Kevin Crowley back in the lineup. He only had a goal and assist, but, I mean, again, there's some big leadership in there.
And a team that's not getting many goals, a goal and an assist is huge.
That helps. Yeah. And it takes maybe a little bit of pressure off of Will Malcolm when you're really, really leaning on him. Justin Getty got the start and goal. Stopped 27 of 34 shots in the win.
It's interesting to see Noah Armitage. He got 2 goals, 2 assists in his game as well.
Yeah.
So it's good to see, again, scoring coming from other places. Adam Charlambides with a goal also. So this is what hasn't been happening in the last, forever this season. Jeff Cornwall, other things like that where they're getting it other than just sitting back and getting tickets and watching the Will Malcolm show.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right?
So yeah, to have them start firing, maybe it's not too late. Mike, what do you think? Is it too late for them to pull it forward, or is it almost a ship that sailed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I believe they're sitting currently. We'll go through the rest of the games, but I believe they're sitting in 3rd place right now. So, that they're. Again, their schedule isn't the most favorable. I believe they still have a game against Victoria and maybe another against Coquitlam.
Right.
But +1 against Maple Ridge, who I don't think I think Maple Ridge actually has a tiebreaker on them already. So
I believe you're right. Yeah, but like we had talked before, that was kind of really the rubber match on how the tiebreakers are going to go. If I believe between Coquitlam and New West. So they kind of needed that one, especially with how
Yeah.
tight these standings are.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's bigger when you look at the rest of Coquitlam's schedule. I don't think they have it easy at all. I think they've got one or two against Langley, maybe, and one against Victoria left.
Right.
To check myself on that, but they don't have an easy road. It's going to be hard for them to find.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one more win is all Coquitlam might need to make the playoffs, but it's going to be difficult for them to find it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move over to Wednesday night, and Nanaimo comes and visits Langley and gets thumped.
Yeah.
This was a Langley team that would start.
This was kind of interesting because I mean, Langley kind of pretty much just needs that win just to kind of keep pace with the rest of the pack. They're all crammed together there. But for Nanaimo's case, this one hurt, especially for their playoff chances, because they're starting to lose ground with that pack. Them and I believe it was Burnaby. Double check the standings, but are just kind of starting to drop down. And yeah, like you mentioned, even like from last year where we saw this amazing Nanaimo team, you're just kind of wondering what happened. Yeah, but going to this game 11-7, Langley over Nanaimo. We're seeing those stars come out for Langley again. Robert Church had 5 goals and 2 assists for 7 points. Connor Robinson had a goal and 5 assists for 6 points. And Aiden Walsh, I know we talked about him a couple weeks ago, if not last week, can't remember exactly. Nanaimo outshot Langley 54-41. Aiden Walsh made 47 saves, only allowing 7 goals in the victory. So he's starting to come in his own now. So Warrior fans might want to maybe get a little excited about this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. On Thursday, the Salmon Bellies do it again. This time at home. And they beat the Burnaby Lakers 9-6.
Again, kind of what we talked about in the first game, right? We knew this was a big week for New West. And Burnaby's in the same kind of situation as Nanaimo. They're starting to lose pace with the rest of that kind of pack of Coquitlam, New Westminster, Maple Ridge, that kind of pack there. They're all crunched together. And yeah, I mean, it was an ugly one. And New West really was in the third period, 3-0. And Will Malcolm, 5 goals, 2 assists to really lead the way again for New Westminster. 5 assists, though, for Thomas Vela. So maybe a little bit of a bright spot for the Lakers.
Mike Messenger with a goal and 2 assists, but he wasn't doing so hot at the faceoff.
Not as much. He was only 7 for 7 out of 17
in his, yeah.
Yeah, not quite Messenger numbers, but yeah, he still had 3 points. He still had goals from Lucas Nelson, Austin Ducommon, Tyson Gibson. So you're seeing a little bit more of that secondary scoring, but again, 5 of those goals came from Will Malcolm. If you don't have those 5 goals,
yeah, we're talking about what's wrong with New West.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me ask, as good as we've seen, performances by, let's say, Robert Church, Chase Scanlon from Langley, the King brothers, Cole Pickup for Victoria. Is Will Malcolm the WLA MVP just based on the numbers he's putting up and the fact that he's pretty much keeping New Westminster afloat?
Well, that's it. And it's the team that he's on, right? He is the guy. Like, isn't that the perennial definition of what most valuable players should be?
Yeah, you would think. Yeah,
it's easy to rise to the top when you have a good
take away his points in probably just about every game.
But that's the thing, though. Do you put him in the MVP conversation if New West somehow misses the playoffs?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, yeah, I'd rethink it if they don't make the playoffs. At this point, with what they have left on their schedule, I think they're in a lot better position after how they did this week.
Sure.
Even if they split this week, I'd be skeptical about them making the playoffs. But the fact that they swept both of their games gives me certainly a little more confidence in them.
And like I said, you're kind of seeing Burnaby and Nanaimo drop off. They're more than likely now not going to make the playoffs. There's two teams right there that you can probably scratch out, right?
Out of the mix. Well, definitely
Yeah.
the Nanaimo, because I think I got the Knicks game, which was Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Burnaby and Nanaimo. So Burnaby comes away with a 14-11 win. So they kind of somewhat keep pace with the rest of the and we should note that Maple Ridge was idle this week. So they've kind of sat and watched as a few teams have leapfrogged them in the standings. But the usual suspects again for Burnaby. Jacob Dunbar, 4 goals, 3 assists. Stu Phillips had a goal and 4 assists. Ben McDonald, 3 and 2. Bobby Kidd III had 4 assists in the win, and Connor Watson with 4 goals. Chayton Hetman, 39 saves for Burnaby. For Nanaimo, Taggart Clark doing the heavy lifting, 5 goals and an assist. Zach Mans and Jason Knox both had 2 goals and 3 assists. Evan Messenger had a pair of goals. Devlin Shanahan got the start in net, made 34 saves in the loss.
All right. The other game on the Friday night, of course, was my Shamrocks defeating the Adanacs 11-7.
Yeah, still undefeated. And I mean, it was close in the first, a 4-3 game, and then the Shamrocks just did what the Shamrocks do, and good luck stopping the King brothers. 3 goals, 1 assist for Marshall. I believe it was 3 goals and 4 assists 3 goals and 3 assists for Jesse. Chris Wardle, 3 assists. Clark Peterson, 2 goals and an assist. Casey Wilson, a goal and 2 assists. Just up and down this lineup. I don't even know who could defeat these guys. It's an all-star lineup. Crystal Regulari got the start. Stopped 32 of 39 in the win. Over at Coquitlam, actually was Keen Moon who was their leading scorer with 2 goals and 3 assists. Tyler Kirkby, 4 assists. Then just kind of drops off that. Chase McIntyre, 2 assists. Riley Isaacs, a goal and an assist. Jack Charbonneau, a goal and assist. And Brian Gillison, a goal and an assist.
All right. Very cool. All right. We move into Saturday and the Shamrocks again with a 11-5 win over the Timbermen.
Yeah, so Nanaimo, I think at this point is all but eliminated. They drop all 3 of their games in week 9, and now they're 4-10-1 on the year. So, not much to speak of, unfortunately, for Nanaimo. John Phillips, 2 goals and an assist. Colton Lidstone had a goal and an assist. Taggart Clark had a goal. Zach Mans just 2 assists. Colby Bowman and Devlin Shanahan both saw significant time in net, combined to make 41 saves. For Victoria, Cole Pickup, a hat trick and 2 assists. Tom Vason, a hat trick. Marshall King, 3 assists. Matthew Gauthier and Clark Peterson, a goal and 2 assists each. And Cam Dunkley got the start in net, making 31 saves in the win. So now Victoria is 15-0. And all they have left, I believe, is a home and home with Langley, which I think happens next week. And then they finish up with a game against New West. So,
right. All righty, let's bring up the standings and see what's going on. 1 second here. Here we go. So of course, Shamrocks 15-0. And then we have the logjam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see. I mean, I put in my recap that I said all but eliminated for Nanaimo. Basically, they got 3 games left, so even if they win all 3, the maximum number of points they can get is 15, and Langley only needs a tie to eclipse that. New West only needs a win to eclipse that. Coquitlam only needs a win to tie that number,
Yeah.
and they hold a tiebreaker on Nanaimo. They swept all 3 games against them this year. So, and then when you look at Maple Ridge and Burnaby, they both have a game in hand on Nanaimo. So, I still wouldn't count Burnaby out, and you can see the start of next week there. Tuesday, Burnaby's going to be hosting Maple Ridge. One of
That could be a
Burnaby's
big one.
one of Burnaby's remaining games is also against Nanaimo. So that they beat Maple Ridge and they beat Nanaimo. Now they got 15 points too. And suddenly, they're 7-8-1, which, that puts them actually ahead of where New West is now. So, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Burnaby to legitimately contend for a playoff spot here.
Yeah.
When 2 wins basically puts them in 3rd place from 6th place. So
I do agree with that. They're going to need some help still. Like
they will. They
yeah.
will. I mean,
Like,
they'll certainly help themselves if they win Tuesday against Maple Ridge. They'll drop Maple Ridge, and leapfrog them. And like I said, Coquitlam does not have. I can't remember their 2 remaining games, but I want to say it's Victoria and New West.
They have Burnaby by the looks of it.
Oh, they do. Okay.
New West.
Burnaby doesn't Burnaby hold a tiebreaker on them already? I think they won the first 2.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but
all right. Cool.
So yeah, I mean, if Burnaby has to play Coquitlam as well, you're looking at the team just beneath them, the 2 teams right above them.
So pretty much those are going to be the big games for Burnaby. Like, I don't even know whether a split would even do it for them. Like,
I don't think it would. I think they need to go at least 3-1 in their last.
Yeah.
So, or 3-0-1. Hey, we've already had 2 ties.
Yeah, it's all the realm. Yeah.
And hey, I mean, you can see where that tie is making a difference right now for Coquitlam in the standings. It's making a difference for Langley in the standings. And if Burnaby goes on a win streak, that tie is going to help them too. So,
right. Oh yeah.
Although in their case, that tie should have been a win. That was, I think, against Nanaimo. So they had a lead late and they squandered it. So.
All right. Cool. So upcoming games this week, we have the Berards versus the Lakers on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, the Shamrocks and Thunder. And one would think that big deal. That's a big game for the Thunder.
Yeah.
If we somehow can knock the king off that castle.
And they're now seeing Robinson, the Scanlons, Church. That could be a tough game for Victoria.
And I think that's the first of a home and home this week. So I think when you keep scrolling, you're going to find there's a game later in the week in Victoria.
Yeah, on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the Adanacs against the Bellies, another big one.
Yeah.
Because this is the 3rd and 4th, right? Flip around. The Berards against the Timbermen.
And honestly, that's big too, especially if Maple Ridge drops their game to Burnaby on Tuesday, they're going to need to win to have any chance of keeping pace. And they're going to have to take it out on the last place team.
Yeah.
The Adanacs and the Lakers face each other on Saturday. This is a busy week, guys.
Again, yeah. Every game has some pretty
Some
serious
meaning.
importance
Yeah.
here, you know, even Victoria's games. So
Yeah. And
Really,
we
yeah,
got
because really 2 through 6 is anybody's game right now still.
well, the Shamrocks and Thunder with the second part of the home and home on Sunday, which, by the way, will be on the air, so we'll be able to give live updates of that game while it's going on. So
excellent.
even more, another reason to stick with us, as you should, anyways. And of course, the Timberland and the Lakers also on Sunday night. Busy week, and another pivotal game.
Yeah, boy. If Burnaby sweeps those 3 games, look out.
They're right back into it for sure. Yeah.
Look out. And then I don't know who they finish up with, though. That's the only thing. I think it is Victoria that they have last. So it's either them or New West.
Well, Victoria's got the bellies last, so.
Yeah, I know there's only 4 games in the I know
Burnaby's
there's 4
got
games.
Langley last by the looks of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's right. Alrighty. Another busy week. Stick with us. We have everything up to date, right up to the moment with recaps and with assessments and everything like that. So you're going to want to come and check with us daily for your WLA fix. Just before we get on to MSL, it's a reminder that this part of the show is brought to you by Dolan's.
When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, right off I-95 south of the Philadelphia airport. For over 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the amazing people of Philadelphia. Great music, great times, memorabilia, giveaways, great drinks, and great food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through that door. You go to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
Sue me, dog. All right, let's get into. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we can't laugh, MSL, some weird stuff before the end of the season. Stuff that still to this moment there has not been anything mentioned or said, and I can't figure it out for the life of me. Luckily, in logistics way, it worked out right anyways. But if you remember, earlier in the year, they had a game canceled between Oakville and Six Nations, and Callum Jones got hurt pretty severely in that game, and they stopped it a couple of minutes into it, and we're going to replay it at a later date. Well, that date was supposed to be Tuesday, July 16th. Now, Oakville was playing Brampton on Monday, the 15th, and they were still in the possibility, if they won that game and the Tuesday game, to be ahead of Coburg in the standings for home floor, since they were facing Coburg as they were back-to-back in their standings, 3 and 4. Excuse me. However, before the Monday game, I look at the schedule and boom, there's no game there. There's no word. There's no nothing. Nothing. It's like it never happened. Now, Brampton happened to beat Oakville 9-8 on the Monday game, so the game is moot anyways. But if Oakville won that game and it was already gone, I still don't understand how they didn't want home floor advantage. It didn't jive with me. But, I'm sure somewhere out there's an explanation that I'm missing here. But to me, that just seems odd, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a summer of oddities, this one kind of makes its way further and further up the list.
I mean, the first thought off the top of my head is the game that got stopped. Where was it being played?
In Oakville.
It was in Oakville. Okay.
Right. It was at the track.
And the game they had against Brampton was where?
At the track.
So both of the last 2 games would have been at the track.
Right.
Huh.
It gets stranger the more you look into it.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
Yeah, that
Six
is
Nations
back.
was undefeated, but they're on a week hiatus anyways, or 2-week hiatus, because, well, they're got to buy in the first week because they're so far ahead.
Right.
So playing one more game, I don't think would have mattered. And they hadn't played in a couple of days anyways. So it just, the more you put into it, the more you scratch your head going, this doesn't make any sense. And that there was no statement from anybody. And it was just business as usual. In fact, it made it even stranger that I saw the Coburg playoff schedule before the Monday game, and I had them at home floor advantage. So it even became stranger.
Weird.
So I don't know. Anyways, let's move onward. We get into playoffs Wednesday. Other than Oakville would have had to play 3 days in a row. Right? They would have had to play Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because they opened up the playoffs in Coburg. So unless they forego that game to be rested for the first game, that's the only feasible explanation that goes on in my own head, that they just forgone it and, have a day's rest and go into the playoffs over in, well, not even in Coburg, because here's another strange one, guys. Coburg doesn't have the Coburg Community Center, the meat locker, because they had to lay the ice down. Yes, it's the middle of July. They had to lay the ice down there. So they didn't have use of that. So they're playing at you can't make this stuff up, the Jack Berger Arena in Port Hope, which is actually a wee bit closer to me, but not very. It's a difference of about 15 minutes. But yeah. So they're playing in Port Hope, Coburg. They're playing Oakville, who didn't want a home game. And you could get stranger and stranger, the more you look at this stuff.
Can we start the circus music right now?
Well, really, it's sending the clowns thing. It's like I just remember last year where we couldn't figure out which overtime we were using. Was it full?
Yeah.
Half the teams walked off and the others stayed on the floor going, "Where's the face-off?" Yeah. I go to Prague and there's a torrential downpour and refs take off their helmets because they can't see, but they keep playing. Here, well, the floor's wet. We have to go cancel a game for 3 weeks. Okay. Anyways, first game of the MSL playoffs, Oakville and Coburg got together in Port Hope. And, well, good thing they got that day's rest because Coburg thumped them 17-9. Yes, they did. 17-9. This thing was close until the national anthem. It was 5-1 for Coburg after one. Oakville did wake up in a second. They got 6 goals, but they also gave up 6 goals. Nick Rose got pulled in this game. And, Coburg even went on to score another 6 in the third, just to put an exclamation point on this particular affair. This was all Coburg. Now, the interesting thing in this game is the backup goalie for the Rock wasn't Holochuk. It was Evan Konstantopoulos. Yes, of Buffalo Bandits fame. Big Ev. Didn't fare so good.
Interesting, yeah.
But still, interesting that we're putting new names in the playoffs. I always thought you had to play a game during the year to be eligible for playoffs. Apparently not. It happened again today, and we'll get into that when I get to the Brampton game. But weird. And, it was so far ahead that they pulled Stephen Orleman with about 5 minutes to go and put Joel Watson in. So he got a little bit of work other than opening and closing gates. So, but 17-9, that was game 1 for Coburg and Oakville. At the same time, Brooklyn, who had a great summer, played Brampton. And, Brampton's defense has looked good all year. Their offense has not. Brooklyn came away with an 8-7 victory. That was today. Sorry. Let me get a little further back. Sorry. 10-5 was Brooklyn in that first game. A little bit more Brooklyn-esque. The big one in there, Austin Shanks with 4 goals. Brady Kiernan with 3 goals. There's your offense for Brooklyn. Curtis Knight, Zach Belter also had goals. But the big thing there, Jackson Raposo also. But Austin Shanks doesn't play all the games, but when he plays, boy, does he put his exclamation point on the game. Will Johnson, Will Johnson was in the net for Brampton in this one against Zach Higgins. Moving further into the week, we had Owen Sound and Peterborough on Thursday night. And, as you might expect, Peterborough at home layeth the smacketh down on Owen Sound. It was 12-5 as a final. It was fairly close after one. It was 3-1 after one. Then came the second. And, Peterborough pillar to post. 7 goals unanswered. In this one, of course, Rob Hellier, Turner Evans, Thomas Hogarth, all with big games. Joey Caputo looked good also in this one. Looked better in this the next one. But Dylan Hutchison had a goal. Owen Hiltz had a goal and 4 assists. Hogarth with a hat trick. Resta Terrets had 1 goal but 7 assists in this game. Hellier and Evans both with a pair of each. So Peterborough's getting scoring from all over the place. They are starting to look dangerous. Now, I know it's against Owen Sound and it's not against Six Nations. But if you look even coming into these games, I believe Peterborough had won 3 of 4. And, they're just starting to heat up. And you know how this all works. You get a team that gets hot and a team that can believe. And sky's the limit. So we move into Friday night, and Oakville and Coburg meet up at the track. A little different result. The Rock come away with a 10-8 victory. A little bit more of what these teams play like. But again, come the middle of the third period, and we basically had a tie ball game. Josh Dawick gets one. Brock Haley ties her up. Andrew Q with the Josh Dawick with the game winner. Andrew Q with a little bit of insurance. Aaron Woods brings it a little bit closer with a couple of minutes left. But this is the series I expect. 10-8, not 17-9. And Orleman against Rose again in this particular series. So we move into Saturday night. And Peterborough and Owen Sound, if you thought the first one was a beating, well, no. 14-4 for Peterborough in this one. Yeah. And it sounds as bad as it looks. Peterborough had 5 unanswered goals in the first. It was 8-2 after 2. And you think they take their foot off the pedal? Heck no. Another 6 in the third. The big guys in this one, Turner Evans, 2 goals, 7 assists. Rob Hellier, 3 goals and 5 assists. Austin Hazen with 5 assists in this one. Reza Terrets, remember he had 1 goal, 7 assists. Well, he had 4 goals and 3 assists in this one. Thomas Hogarth with 4 goals in this one. So again, the guys who are supposed to score are heating up. Joey Caputo with a goal and 2 assists. Little extra transition just to, make you quiver a bit. For Owen Sound, their bright spark was Jonathan Peshko. Maybe Jackson Weber with a goal and assist as well. But if that team doesn't perform with everybody, they don't have a chance. They need all hands on deck. And one more opportunity. Otherwise, it's all she wrote. Today we had both Brooklyn and Brampton play and Oakville and Coburg play. Brooklyn and Brampton, another one of these ones that, Brampton's defense is great, but their offense is sporadic. But they were able to shut down the big, bad Brooklyn machine. Brooklyn comes away with an 8-7 victory. Brampton had a couple of goals late, but just a little bit too little too late and fell just shy. Interestingly enough, their big scorers on Brampton was Eric Acton, who I hadn't seen all year long. Zach Sunderland, who had played maybe 1-2 games there. But in net, Riley Hutchcalf was in net for Brooklyn, but Marcus Medill was in net for Brampton. Again, another one I hadn't seen all year, which makes me, again, wonder, didn't you have to play a game to be eligible for playoffs? Where did that last game go with Oak? Never mind. So just questions that keep popping into my head. But speaking of the Oakville and Coburg game, which ended just prior to us coming on air, well, Coburg started this game a lot like the first game, and they were up 4-1 after one. Difference being is Oakville fought back and scored 3 into the second, and it was 5-4 after 2. They actually tied it, made it 5-5 in the third, then they traded goals. It was 7-7 at the end. Oakville actually had to lead 7-6 before Aaron Woods tied it up, sending this thing to overtime. Now, they played damn near the whole overtime period. With only a couple of minutes left, Gareth Hayes scored an unassisted marker and gave Coburg the 8-7 win. So they're up 2-1 in this series. And, upcoming games, well, we have Tuesday, we have the game 4 in the Coburg-Oakville series, which is over at the Rock Athletic Center, 8 o'clock, if you happen to be in Oakville. You also have Brampton and Brooklyn at the Iroquois Park Sports Arena over in Whitby. Wednesday, if necessary, if necessary, Oakville and Coburg in Port Hope. Thursday, Brooklyn and Brampton. And then, y'all remember we have that other series, right? Peterborough and Owen Sound. Well, they'll be playing their third game on Thursday. That's weird scheduling. Teams have 4 or 5 days off. Other teams play 3 in a row. Okay. If any of these games are still available after that, Friday, Brampton and Brooklyn play each other. Saturday, over in Owen Sound, if necessary, Peterborough and Owen Sound. And Sunday, again, if necessary, Owen Sound goes to Peterborough. Now, me personally would love to have that game 5 because I'd love to have a reason to travel out to Peterborough on a Sunday. Because it'd be against traffic. All the people coming home from Cottage are coming the other way. It'd be a nice change. I can wave as they're sitting in traffic. But anyway, that's the MSL story for now. And again, Six Nations sitting back, just waiting and seeing who they're going to face in round 2. And remember, best 3 out of 5 in round 1, but we go to 4 out of 7 in round 2 and 4 out of 7 in round 3. So now you know why WLA is sitting there in the middle of their season while MSL is doing a whole lot of playoffs. It's kind of like NHL where the playoffs end in July. At this stage, the playoffs may end in the middle of October for MSL.
Yeah.
But that is how it's all looking over in Able. Just before we hit to the PLL, it's a reminder that this part of the show is brought to you by Cherry Injury.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com.
Absolutely. All right, over to the PLL. And of course, before we get into any of that fun and excitement, we have to pull up our pick'ems.
Yay!
Hey.
You guys were normally moaning and
Other
groaning.
than freaking Alice, that would have been happy.
Yeah. I had one of their weeks. Metamorphosis. There you go. Gary is 1-3 this week. Pat 2-2. Shawn 3-1. If only Atlas could win.
Bloody Atlas, man.
And then Muffler and Eduardo with 2-2. Looking at the year to date, it got a lot tighter, didn't it? I'm up 14-10. Shawn is right behind me, 1 win down. And then we have the log jam in third. Pat, Mike, and Eduardo all sitting at 11-13, but chomping at the bit just to come on up as Gary goes 0-4 next week or something. It's that time. Remember the NLL? We started over here, went over here, then fought our way slowly back up again to win. But hey, there's only a couple more weeks. All I have to do is keep my nose just
water.
Not the water dog line, because the water dog line is below the water line now. Which brings us to our first game, doesn't it, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Water Dogs, who I expected a heck of a lot more. And in fact, I said that last week on the show, that I thought this was do or die for them. And Mort, my friend, Mort, done. You came out.
Yeah. Leading 7-5 at the half over the Denver Outlaws. Everything fell apart in the third quarter. Outscored by Denver 8-3. En route to a 15-13 loss. The Water Dogs are now 1-5 on the year. We'll get to the one silver lining a little later for them, but Denver, Denver improves to 3-2 on the year. Stays basically in kind of in the running almost for the West Conference lead, believe it or not. Really benefited from 3 2-point goals in the game for Denver. Their leading scorer was Dalton Young, 5 points on 3 goals and 2 assists. Luke Weirman continuing to be steady at the faceoff dot for Denver, 12 of 24 with 6 ground balls. You also got a goal and 2 2-point goals from Graham Bundy Jr. Brennan O'Neill with a hat trick. We talked about him before the break, that he seems to disappear at certain points. Not exactly number 1 draft pick but hopefully he turns it on in the second half. O'Neill also had an assist. And
the return to PLL of
Mr. Eric Law,
formerly of Atlas.
Yes,
captain of Atlas.
but formerly of Outlaws before that for a good chunk of his career. 2 goals. I believe he moved into 8th on the all-time field lacrosse goals list. I believe he's about 12 goals shy of 300. So for his career, which is pretty impressive. Owen McElroy
made the difference in the game when your first came back. Not bad.
Yeah. And plus, the leadership qualities. So can't overstate those. Owen McElroy too. He kind of got thrust in the starting role when Sean Scanoni got hurt. 16 saves on the night in the win for the Water Dogs. Michael Sowers, 5 points on 2 goals and 3 assists. We mentioned him earlier. He just signed with Vancouver in the NLL. Alex Dethakis, 15 of 27 at the dot with 4 ground balls. Dylan Ward had 10 saves on the night. Other scorers included Connor Kelly, back home. He's native of Easton, Connecticut. 2 goals and a 2-point goal, as well as an assist for 5 points. Zach Courier, a goal and a 2-point goal, and the 1-point goal was a nice rendition of Air Gate curling around for a dunk. Kieran McArdle had a pair of goals. Mikey Schlosser back in the lineup, hasn't played in about a year and a half due to injury. He got a goal. But this Water Dogs team,
Yeah. I'm curious with Pat AWOL tonight. I guess he's just kind of sulking into his yin.
Well, no,
Yeah,
he couldn't make it due to technical issues. I think he had that he and Al weren't able to fix. But I don't know. They need to find a way to close out games. That seems to be really where they're struggling.
Yeah.
I don't even know that we can really say point to the defense as lacking as
Well,
much
Dylan
as
Ward making only 45% saves, that can't help. He needs to have that at 55 or better if they're going to win.
it certainly can't, but boy,
we watched that also.
That's and that's a tough call for Bill Tierney to make, especially this late in the season to decide to do maybe something where, hey, I'm just going to go with Matt DeLuca in net instead for a game and see how that goes.
Benching a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that gotta go over easy.
No, it won't. So, and that's I'm gonna guess that's why we haven't seen it. But they need to find a way to close out some games. Now, on to the silver lining. While being 1-5, their closest competition in the East Conference, the Maryland Whipsnakes, had a chance after watching them lose to go up 2 games on them. But they were also unable to get the job done Friday night, losing in overtime to the Carolina Chaos 10-9. So they fall to 2-4, just 1 game ahead of the Waterdogs. And, I've been talking about it since the start of the season. Even though Philly has been losing majority of their games, they're keeping them for the most part close.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
if there's anything where it's paying off, it's in their point differential for the season. And their point differential for the season is still better than Maryland. So, when it comes to looking at playoffs and top 3 teams in each conference get in, just don't finish last. All they got to do is finish in a tie with Maryland and take that spot based on point differential. So, and they get a shot. They get another shot at the Whipsnakes next week, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, I believe.
Right.
They get a shot at the another shot at the Whipsnakes. So, but
you're talking about the Carolina and the and the Whipsnake game, and it's funny because the Whipsnakes, if you look at their numbers, they have good enough numbers to easily win this game. But yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
They did. Joe Nardella, 15-22 at the faceoff dot. Brendan Krebs had 13 saves, and he had some. He had a couple saves where he stoned some guys. Right on the doorstep. You get a hat trick out of Zed Williams, you get a pair of goals out of Levi Anderson, you get a goal each. From a number of other guys, including Tucker Dordovic, who just came back to the lineup. TJ Malone, who's, I think, leading all rookies in scoring. But Chaos had a fairly
39 ground balls, too. So you were controlling play.
You did. So that definitely definitely makes it, for lack of a better pun, sting, since we're talking about the Chaos.
Absolutely.
A little more. But, they had a pretty balanced attack. Shane Knobloch, 2 goals on the night, including the game winner, a little over 2 minutes into overtime. Jules Henningberg had 2 goals and an assist. Josh Byrne, a goal and an assist. They also got goals from Ian McKay, Eric Dobson, Ross Scott, Zach Geddes, Blaze Reardon, 18 saves on the night. And I believe he moved into the top 10 all time in saves.
Well, you look at his percentage in this game, and that's insane.
Yeah.
It's a 67% save percentage.
Yeah.
Those are outlandish numbers.
Yep.
Here's your emphatic exclamation point, because we've been talking about Atlas and all the other goalies in the league, and he's kind of taken a back seat to it all. Well, he just put his name on the top of the list with this.
Yeah, and don't forget, he was out for a game and a half with the injury. So
And do we really know if
yeah,
he really healed from the collarbone one too, or if it was in his head too? So he's overcoming a lot of this stuff, and the numbers are just.
I agree. And just looking at that, they're 3-3 now. They've already had their homecoming week and their bye week, so they're one of, I think, just a couple of teams who've already had that happen. Philly's one of the others. So, that's kind of the nice thing about getting those out of the way earlier in the season is now it's you got a game every week and just one game to worry about.
Right.
From here on out. So, but they are 3-3. They will, still a half game ahead of Denver in the West for second place and just a game behind Utah for first place. So, and I believe they have not played the Archers yet.
Sorry to hear that, Dave.
Thanks for tuning in anyway.
Yeah.
my team won. We're champions. You can back a winner there. Back to roadies. Sorry to hear that, Dave. Glad you're with us, though. You can drown your sorrows and listen to us. We'll make you feel all good again. But speaking of sorrows, what happened to Atlas on? Well, I can pinpoint it to the third. What happened?
Yeah,
They were smoothly going, and then the third happened, and that was it.
Yeah, and what we keep saying as Jeff Teat goes, as Atlas, Jeff Teat only had 2 assists. But speaking of that, let's go to the second quarter. Just over a minute in, Chet Comizio scores with Jeff Teat assist. That's number 45. He is the all-time new record. And he had another assist, and guys, we still have 4 weeks to go in the regular season, plus another 3 weeks of playoffs. He's going to smash this record.
Seeing what the record will be by the time he's through with it.
Yeah, it's going to be smashed.
It could double.
Yeah.
Conceivably, it could double from what it was.
60, 70.
I don't know if I've ever seen a record do that to that extent. To have a 100% turnover and increase. I don't. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe after this game, maybe not, because they only have 3 regular season games left, right? So
take a look at the first 3 he put together. It's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, but remember what I told you guys a week or so ago is this guy puts in more work than anybody I know. It's funny. I was talking with on the weekend with one of the guys who played in Nipissing with Scott Dominey, and he happened to be on our team. But great little attacker too. But and Dominey's workout, it's legendary how nutty it is, and he is strictly kinesiology major or whatever, he graduate master or I believe it's master's in it. But his thesis was actually on the lacrosse player and the shooting and all the things that go in. He was one of the test cases, this guy. So, and he's talking about, if Dominey is talking about that Jeff teaches his workout is just insane. Someone like Dominey, who his workout is ridiculously insane, I would put it up there with Jesse Gamble for ridiculously insane.
Yeah.
And if they're putting them above Jeff Teat's workout above that and his ethic, wow. So God-given talent plus a work ethic that is nonstop. Well, you see the result.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's get back to the game here.
But yeah, as I say, going back to what happened in the third quarter, well, the Cannons had in total in the game 3 2-point goals plus 2 just in the third quarter alone. One from Marcus Holman, the other one from Connor Kirst. They just couldn't stop that outside shot.
Literally.
And we're talking about how great, and Liam Entenmann looked his first game. Not so much. Only 9 saves.
Answers that question, eh, Mike? That answers that question we're talking about. Who goes in?
Yeah.
Will be in the next game. Don't you worry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, I guess when you're up that much, this is the time to experiment. And if it doesn't work, go back to what was working. If it did work, hey, great, we have another page in our book. But
Absolutely.
just gets a little frustrating for us fans. By the way, Mike, that's a nice touch of a Cannons jersey on your door. Thanks. Thanks. Let me get the salt out of the wound.
I don't have any
Yeah.
WLA jerseys yet, so I'm working on it.
Would you like to borrow my never mind.
Oh, come on now. But no, back to this game. Marcus Holman, two single goals, 2-point goal, assist for 5 points. Jeff Trainer, 2 goals, 1 2-point goal. Asher Knowlting, a goal and 2 assists. Connor Kirst, a goal and a 2-point goal for 3 points. But yet the Atlas is just kind of silent, right? Brian Kostiuk had 2 goals and 2 assists. Miles Jones, 2 goals and assist. Logan McGovern had 2 goals. Really what killed him was those outside shots and giving up those 3 2-point goals.
Right. Well, I guess we can't have it all. The only game that I got right this week, guys, and no, I wasn't going with the Redwoods. Utah and the Redwoods met, and well, what we all expected, every one of us got this game right, is that Utah beat the California Redwoods 15-8. Really,
Yeah.
No surprises here, guys.
No. We have Matt Moore had a 6-point night for the Archers, 2 goals, a 2-point goal, 2 assists for 6 points. Tom Schreiber, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5. A hat trick from Connor Fields. Brett Dobson, 55.6% saves, 10 saves. Sisselberger, 17 for 25 on the faceoff dot. Did it. I mean, they just dominated all from start to finish, right? I'm speechless. I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's just
They're a pretty good team.
Yeah, they're a good team, and they went against a really struggling team in the Redwoods. And I mean, we'll look at the standing shortly, but at 1-4 with a -16 goal differential for the Redwoods.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I mean, even though Philly is 1-5, I think California is in a more dire situation.
Oh,
right
100%.
now, as far as playoff chances. They're
2 games behind now in a -16.
yeah,
Denver Outlaws are a -10, 2 guys ahead. So
yeah, and I believe Denver has a win over them already, and I don't know if they're playing a second time. Denver and California. We'll have to check that.
I'm not sure.
But looking at the standings here, interestingly enough, that Boston and New York are now tied.
Yeah, that was actually a big win for Boston, kind of getting them level with New York. I mean, obviously New York still has the lead with the goal differential, but yeah.
The goal differential is wild, but the first tiebreak is score differential, right? So
yep.
But that's where this one comes into play. Also, that hurts.
Hey, just checking on that. Outlaws did beat Redwoods 13-8 in week 4, and they do play again in week 8. So
okay.
So I mean, if there's any silver lining in that, it's really next week is Redwoods homecoming, so they get 2 games, so they could pull themselves to 3-4, and then the following week they could, even their record and kind of even their head-to-head with Denver.
Just looking at this though, these playoffs, even if they were to start tomorrow, would be amazing. There's not a bad game to happen. Just the way things are. And if they go the way I think they will, semis and finals will be just off the rails crazy.
Yep.
Almost at the point of must-see TV.
Oh,
just ridiculous how talented these squads are and the way the system is working. Just absolutely fantastic. But upcoming for this week, get rid of this. We have Carolina and California. This one, and it's in, can't remember, California. It's in San Diego, so they have 2 games this week. So this is the season. If they can sweep them, they're back in it. If they lose them both, we're going to just be giving last rights, and that'll be the end of that.
Yep.
If they split them, they're on a thread. So they really need to all hands on deck. Any bit of the all the lingo and all the garb and all the quotes you can think. They need to put that all into one little speech, and away we go. Because this one is do or die for them. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. We're in week 8 here.
7.
According to their thing, I guess they counted the
the All-Star game. Yeah.
But week 7 of the play, week 8 for them, whatever. But there's only a few weeks left, and it's really is do or die. If you drop 2, you're finished. Denver, Boston. This is another big one. Huge for Boston to see if they can continue along. Denver needs this one also to stay and keep pace, because it could get very, very strange. I don't envy Philadelphia's position in this one. It's the network game. It's on ABC, but you got a pissed off Atlas squad who dropped a game.
Atlas will be salivating.
Need this game. This could change our whole conversation also, silver lining or not, because Atlas thumps them, and this is done. 1-6 is not going to be easy for them to come back. They would have to be damn near perfect. But it's possible. It's not quite as dire as California, but it's close.
Yep.
And
so I was going to say, look at that last game. The Whipsnakes against Redwoods. If the Redwoods drop that one, the Whipsnakes now, and as we say, Philly drops to New York.
The Atlas.
Now you're 2 games back, and that's going to be tough
3
to climb
weeks
out of, right? Yeah.
It's all these games interrelate also. It's just weird how it just works out so well. So scheduling and the conferencing have made for just fantastic down the stretch for everybody. The peak interest is coming.
Yeah, and that last game will look even worse too for Philly, because week 8 will be in Baltimore. So that's Whipsnake's homecoming. So they're going to get 2 games.
And one of them against Philadelphia.
One's against Philly, and the other one's against California. So they get the 2 one-and teams, unless they do something crazy this weekend. And wounded animals who have a lot of pride. So that could put Maryland in a whole different realm of what.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Philly goes down by 2, I mean, that game against the Whipsnakes.
I'm sorry. Maryland has Boston as the other one. So it's even more difficult.
Yeah. I was going to say that if Philly goes down 2 games to Maryland, I mean, that game in Baltimore, I mean, that's pretty much must win there.
Yeah.
You win it, you're still in it. You win it, you're still in it. You win it, you're still in it, but forget about it if you're done. If you don't,
that gives Atlas another reason to go and try and thump Philly to Hitherland, because they have a bye the following week, and they don't want to be sitting there with 2 losses going into a bye.
No.
Yep.
And being knocked most likely out of first place with that. So they go with a win, get in a bye, and things are still rosy. But that's just it's going to be strange. The last couple of weeks are going to be very, very interesting. You're not going to want to miss that. And remember, all games are on TSN Plus or ESPN Plus, with 1 network game a week on ABC. This week it happens to be Atlas. Interesting.
I think is there 2 this week, or maybe it's next
I
week.
was going to say, it looks like Saturday's on the ESPN regular network. Chaos against Redwoods.
Yep, and then I
It
think
is too,
and then I think the Atlas Waterdogs is on ABC. So
yeah,
so 2
So
linear.
two-
networks.
Interestingly enough, they should have switched that. Boston, Denver should have been on the ESPN network, and Carolina, California being on the Plus. Possible they can still do that, but that's just, of games that you want the world to see.
Yeah.
Denver, Boston would be my first choice of games that particular weekend.
I'll have to check. They might have. No,
That's when they
PLL
have.
yeah, the PLL had made some schedule updates, but they're for week 8 in Baltimore, and then the week in Denver. So nothing for next week. It's still
We can see it's still a week away, but we'll see. Anyways, just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Thread, we are on YouTube. Come check us out 3, 4, 5 times a day. The news is always changing. Things are getting more heated up as well. With the playoffs, there's games going on every day. With free agency coming, news of signings are coming, fast and furious, and they're going to get faster and more furious as we move further through the month to August. Then we have draft talk coming, and a few guests coming along in August when the games slow down a little bit prior to the Man Cup. And of course, once the Man Cup finishes, then we have the Worlds in Utica. So lots of things coming up, lots of things to check out. If you're looking for all of our articles archived, it is at eopsports.com/lacrosse, and you can catch anything you want there. If you're looking for our library of shows, you can go onto the YouTube page and catch any of the shows you want there. If it's retro games, you can go onto the YouTube page and catch that, or interviews, or even some fights, and a few other things that are on there. On Twitter, you can catch a whole lot of extra stuff in there as well as on Instagram. You can catch all the clips from the shows, and then you can search which shows you need from there, or maybe what you need is from the clip. But it'll give you a good base for anything you need to know. Remember, we are the Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop for everything. We have our thumbs on the pulse of everything at all times. And it was great talking with a bunch of you over the weekend, and talking lacrosse and all the ins and outs of what we all do and how we do it and where we do it and who's a part of it. And it's so much fun talking with everybody. And one of the reasons why I love doing road trips is I love getting out and meeting people and talking with people and having a chance just to, have that one-on-one time. And everybody's got a great story and a great background. And it's just fun to see how we get to where we're at and the route that you take to get there. And everybody's got a little bit of a different road, which makes it even more fun to talk. That brings us over to last words. Shawn, I'm going to start with you this week.
Yeah, as you mentioned, NLL free agency is creeping out on us. I believe it starts August 1st, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a flurry of re-signings ahead of the deadline. And then WLA, man, every game is going to count now. Even if you're Nanaimo and maybe out of it, you can still play spoiler very easily.
Absolutely. It's funny. It's absolutely heating up beyond white hot. And so many different possibilities and so many different realms. Mike, last words.
Yeah, WLA, I'll echo. I mean, 7 games this week upcoming, and all of them have significant importance. And then as far as PLL, I mean, it's do or die this week for Redwoods and for Waterdogs, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Next weekend. So,
and with me, it's all 3 of the leagues that I'm covering. All of the games have become quite interesting. Backstories, front stories, things that might happen, things that could happen, things that should happen. And everything from, the new junior series that are coming up, those are going to be just off the chart. Have a look and see. We'll try and get the game of the week as they put it up on our page as well, because it's off the OJLL YouTube page. And I will try and get that shared when I find which one is their game of the week. And also, OSL is heating up too. And things that you thought were sure things are not quite. And anything, one penalty the other way, and it could change everything. That's how close these things are. Same thing with MSL. There's been a lot of games where I just looked at it and went, watching and seeing teams like Brampton that you knew had it in them, but just haven't been able to put it together. Start to put it together. So, they're 2 or 3 players away from really making a lot of teams go, oh my God, we got Brampton tonight. That's how close it is. Because the back end, the end that everybody works on to try and get because they can't get it, they have. So it's about finding, they're a very young team. It's about finding the extra goal scorers to go with guys like JP Ward, to go with guys like Josh Medeiros. You're getting a lot of input from Adam Wiedemann in the back end, but he's scoring a lot as well. So if he can go back to doing defense and having scorers there, this team can get very scary very quickly. And with Dan Teat at the helm, as well as the GM, and sky's the limit, really. That kind of leadership at the top. These guys are learning, they're sponges. So you can see it from when they started to where they are now. It's night and day. But that's the way I see it. This week is going to be very, very interesting. Lots of games upcoming. So stick with us. Also, the PLL. I got to get my Atlas back in the realm.
They'll be pissed off this week.
You can't have 2 losses.
Pissed off this week. So.
That's just suicide, because that's when things go kind of awry. So if they have that one, like they did going into the All-Star break, 47-1, if they have one of those games, it'd be perfect. Well, sorry.
Just don't tell Philly folks that.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of Philly now, so they're walking on eggshells last week. Especially when I heard they lost, I was like, all right. PL what? Yeah, okay. Anyways, remember that we are back on next Sunday at 9 p.m. in our regular time slot. That's about it for this week, man. What a busy week. Like I say, I just got into town, just getting my feet wet back on Canadian soil, so to speak. It rained about 4 drops, so but it's been my God, that arena was hot. My God, that arena was hot. It's funny because when they opened the door, it didn't get any cooler because it was hot outside.
Yeah.
There was a wind at one point. I think somebody sneezed. It was stifling hot in there. But boy, oh boy, was it fun. Like I say, next year it's in Buffalo for Fan Cup 2025. If you're anywhere near it, you got to check it out. We had a lot of people come just to have fun with it, see what was in the auctions, see what was in the other stuff in there, and what was available. And just had fun with all the players, had fun catching up. And again, it's from all over the league, even past teams, because Chicago had a team in there. Guys from Minnesota were up because they used to have a team in Fan Cup as well. Some people from Rochester, they used to have a team up there. They were up there as well. And it's just a fun meeting of people who love lacrosse. And you're talking about every team and get people on different levels and wherever they started and where their journey has taken them. Some great, some not so great. And everybody has so much fun together because it's not be all end all, right? It's not about, we won. It's not about the cup. It's about having fun playing the game you love with people you can get, with that same love. And the amount of fun and magic that can happen and raising, $10,000, $12,000 for good causes never hurts either. So I'll leave it there this week. For Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. Reminding everybody to keep a hold of their stick. Keep it with you at all times. And until next week, have a great week, guys. See you then.